This is the first midweek game week of the season. Make sure you set your alarm so you don't miss the deadline. It is a quick turnaround, so let's get straight into the video. Yet again, I'm forced to play Pickford because Turner's lost his first team spot. It's not an easy fixture either. It's against Newcastle, but at least he's got the home advantage. I have actually considered bringing in another first team goalkeeper. That would either be Kelleher or Dubravka, and of course I'd bring them in for Turner because I don't really need the cash. Then I'd have Pickford as backup all the way through, right up until that game week 19 wildcard. Both of those goalkeepers play for better defences, they have much better fixtures, but I don't think there's much points to be gained in that position. Don't forget that I am dead ending into blank game week 18, so I want to maximise those points gains as much as possible, and that's going to be in the outfield positions. I think both of those goalkeepers that I mentioned are good short-term picks because Pope and Alisson are injured, but don't forget Alisson's back soon, and Newcastle might even bring in a free agent goalkeeper, or they could buy one in the January transfer window. Moving on to defence, I've got Trippier against Everton away, and I'm so glad that I decided to keep him through the difficult fixtures. He got a 9-pointer against Arsenal at home a couple of game weeks ago, and he's just got a 12-pointer against United at home. Everton's not an easy fixture like it used to be, but it's not a difficult fixture. But then he has to face Spurs away next game week. Once I've got through that, he's got Fulham at home and Luton away. So I do plan on keeping him right up until that wild card if I can. The problem is he's on 4 yellow cards, so if he picks up one more yellow card in the next 3 matches, I'm going to have a problem on my hands. Next up is Gabriel against Luton away. That's an easy fixture. I'm expecting a clean sheet there from Arsenal, but to be fair, I expected one last game week against Wolves at home, and they conceded late on. I could do with getting something out of him really, because the next 3 fixtures are all difficult from a defensive perspective. He faces Villa away, Brighton at home, and Liverpool away. I might actually sell him next game week. Lastly in defence is Tsimikas against Sheffield United away. Despite that being away from home, that's an easy fixture. Not only are Liverpool probably going to get a clean sheet, Tsimikas could easily get an attack in return. He's had 3 attacking returns in his last 3 matches, and Sheffield United have by far the worst defence in the league. He has played 90 minutes for a few game weeks as well, although he was rotated a few game weeks ago. I'm hoping that he does play this one, because it is a short turnaround. That applies to Gabriel as well. He's been rotated before. Looking at the bench, it does sound like I'm being a hypocrite, because they have got a Sheffield United player that's first. That's Asula against Liverpool at home, but the reason for that is because I don't want to have Cash against City coming on, because they'll probably concede a couple of goals, or Baldock especially against Liverpool at home. It's worth noting as well that Cash is on 4 yellow cards, just like Trippier. If he receives one more, he gets a suspension for 1 match. That won't hurt me though, because he's not getting many minutes at the minute. I might even sell him next game week and rotate my defenders. I'll see about that, but there's no point selling him this game week, especially if you look at my first team defence. Moving on to midfield, I've got Palmer against United away. Whilst that's not the easiest of fixtures, he's only 5.3 mil, so you don't need to expect much anyway. However, I do expect him to play more than 24 minutes like he did in the last match. He picked up an unexpected knock and didn't play the full match. Salah against Sheffield United away is a very favourable fixture. He's going to be my captain this game week. There's not going to be a best captain video because no one comes close to him. Like I mentioned earlier with Tsimikas, Sheffield United have the worst defence in the league. You've also got the fact that Salah's one of the best attackers in the league. That's the perfect cocktail for a double-digit haul. Another favourable midfielder with an easy fixture is Saka against Luton away. You could always captain him as a differential punt if you want to, but I don't think Luton's defence is as bad as Sheffield United's, and Salah's constantly provided much more threat than Saka so far this season. Another differential punt that you could have for captaincy is Son against West Ham at home, and at least he's got the home advantage. Don't forget that he is playing out of position, he is probably on penalty duties. I'd say that's more likely than Saka because he keeps giving them away, but as much as he got a goal and assist in the last match, don't forget Maddison's not behind him with the creativity, and those figures aren't sustainable because he only got 0.18 expected goal involvement but came away with 2 goal involvements. Don't forget he got 3 blanks before that as well. But for me, West Ham at home's not a difficult fixture. Son still has plenty of positives, so I think he's still a decent option from this point onwards. I just wouldn't captain him. The final midfielder is Mbeumo against Brighton away. Now don't forget that I'm dead ending into blank game week 18. That's when he blanks, so I'm definitely going to keep him for the next few favourable fixtures. But then I'll either bench him or sell him. It depends if I want to keep the price rises or take a short-term punt and not bring him in on the wildcard. That will highly depend on there being a double game week 20 and the fact that he'd have to feature in both matches and not go off to the African Cup of Nations with Cameroon halfway through that game week. Up front is Haaland against Villa away. Now I wouldn't captain him this game week because Salah's got Sheffield United away, which I'd say is a much easier fixture. I know that Haaland probably provides a bit more attacking threat than Salah, but I think Salah more than compensates for that this game week. However, if I was to captain another player this game week that's not Salah, I would put Haaland slightly ahead of Son and Saka. Completing the team is Wood against Fulham away. Now it does look like he might possibly have a knee injury, but there's a 75% chance of him playing whilst this video is being recorded. Don't forget this might be recorded before a few press conferences, so try to remember that. But if he is injured, I'm going to have to find a replacement or someone who can just step in this game week so I can keep him for the next few game weeks. As things stand, I am going to try and roll my free transfer. It'd be nice to have 2 free transfers next game week. Have the luxury of switching it up with 2 players if I want to, moving the budget around. Or ideally just spend 1 free transfer, do that the game week after, and have 2 free transfers for blank game week 18. It would be nice to sell Haaland, bring in a forward, and use that second free transfer to upgrade any player on the pitch to any player that I want to bring in. Then of course I'd just wildcard him back in on the game week 19 wildcard, or even a game week 20 wildcard if that's more optimal. If you found this video informative, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any more videos like this.